guys, thank you so much for watching Cloudbug. I am Akshit. Welcome back to another tech video. In today's Terraform session, I am going to discuss about Terraform resources, which is the most important part of Terraform. Before watching this video, I would suggest you to go through my previous videos on Terraform basics and Terraform providers. Link is attached in the description below. Also, you can see the link on the top right corner. Before proceeding further, let's see the outline of today's talk. I am going to start with what are Terraform resources, in which I will talk about what are resources and how does it look like. Then I am going to share a couple of AWS resource examples. In this, I am going to cover a small project on how to launch EC2 instance using Terraform, and then using the same resources in another configuration. And in the last, I am going to discuss about resources type and meta arguments in detail, in which I will share a couple of examples related to all the meta arguments we have in Terraform resources. So let's get started. First topic in the stack is Terraform resources. Resources are the most important element in the Terraform language. Each resource block describes one or more infra object, such as virtual networks, compute instance, or high-level components such as DNS records. There are multiple resources available for different cloud providers like AWS, GCP, Azure, and so on. This is how resource syntax looks like. You have to mention resource type, resource name, and arguments associated with the resource, where resource type is a type of infra object needs to be launched, such as AWS instance for EC2 instance, AWS_VPC for VPC, and so on. Resource name is used to refer to resource from elsewhere in the same Terraform module, but has no significance outside the scope of a module. In the body, within the curly braces, are the configuration arguments for the resource itself. Most arguments in this section depends on the resource type. I hope it is clear that what exactly resource means. If you still have doubt, let's try to learn more using an example. First example is how to launch EC2 instance using Terraform. In this, we are going to use AWS_instance resource and launch one EC2 instance. I am hoping that you have already installed and initialized Terraform in your local machine. If not yet, then you can watch my latest video, last video on Terraform tutorial for beginners 1 and 2. So here first step is to create directory. You can create with any name, say Cloudbug, and write provider configuration in it. If you don't know how to write provider configuration, then check out my Terraform tutorial for beginner 2. I have attached the link in the description below. Then initialize the Terraform by running Terraform init. Then create EC2 configuration file, say ec2.tf, and write EC2 instance configuration in it, as shown below. So this is the EC2 configuration to launch the instance in AWS. Here AWS_instance is a resource type of resource using which we are going to launch EC2 instance. Cloudbug is a resource name. AMI is an Amazon machine image which provides the information required to launch the instance. You can use AMI of any operating system and can launch the instance. Instance_type is the size of EC2 instance. I always prefer to add tag with every Terraform resource so that it can be easily recognizable. So here tag name is the name of the EC2 instance. So let's launch the EC2 instance. That part I have already done. So I am going to write one EC2 configuration file. So this is a file you can see. So I am just going to run Terraform plan. So Terraform plan will refresh the state and will show us what all is going to happen when we run Terraform apply. So 1 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. So it will create one EC2 instance. With EC2 instance, it is also going to create one block device, default block device. So I'm just going to run Terraform apply and let's see what is going to happen. So it will take some time. It will ask for the value. So it is really a good feature of Terraform. Using this, we like if we accidentally suppose ran Terraform apply, then it will ask for yes or no. So you can see the AWS instance is getting created. So now we can check the console. So yeah, you can see like the EC2 instance is getting created with name CloudWork first instance. It is in pending state. It will take some time. So now it is still creating, and it will create in the instance in couple of minutes. So yeah, it's done. So apply is complete, 1 resource added, 0 changed and 0 destroyed. Now you can see here, instance has been created successfully. Second example is how to use existing resource in another or same file. So I'm going to attach one elastic IP with the EC2 instance that we created in the example 1 using Terraform. So after creating the EC2 instance, as we discussed in example number 1, let's create one EIP, say eip.tf file, and write elastic IP resource configuration in it and attach it to already existing EC2 instance as shown below. So as you can see on the left hand side, we have created one Terraform configuration for elastic IP in which we have mentioned the AWS resource as AWS resource type as AWS underscore EIP, resource name as cloudberg underscore IP, and in order to attach it to the instance, we have to specify the instance detail also. So you can use instance ID here. So I have used instance ID using AWS underscore instance dot cloudberg dot id. So this is a way of calling or using any existing resource. First of all, you have to mention the resource type, which is AWS underscore instance, then the resource name, which is cloudberg. As you can see on the right hand side, the resource name is cloudberg, and then you can call it using the ID. Also, you can define the tag as I discussed earlier. Here I have defined the tag name. Okay. So yeah, so let's launch one elastic IP and attach it to EC2 instance. So currently it don't have any elastic IP, so we will create one elastic IP and attach it to this particular instance. So let's create. So I have created one elastic IP configuration, which is eip.tf, in which I have mentioned the elastic IP name, and it will attach to the instance having name cloudberg. So let's run Terraform plan. It will refresh the state. So we already have one instance, so it is refreshing the state of that particular instance. Now it will show us what all is going to happen when we run Terraform apply. So this particular elastic IP will be created having instance within and will be attached to instance having this ID. Now let's run Terraform apply and see. It will take some time. It is currently refreshing the state of AWS instance cloudberg. Enter the value yes. So you can see this particular elastic IP will be created having name cloudberg underscore first underscore instance underscore EIP. So the elastic IP started getting created. Yeah, it's done so quick. So apply complete, resource 1 added, 0 changed and 0 destroyed. Now check out the console. Let me refresh the page. So yeah, now you can see the elastic IP attached to this particular instance. This is elastic IP. I can check more about it. Yeah, this is elastic IP with name cloudberg first instance underscore EIP. So this is very easy. You just need to create the instance and attach Elastic IP. I hope that now it is clear how to launch resource in Terraform. If you still have doubt, then you can directly reach out to me on any of the social media platform. I have attached the link in the description below. So let's move on to the next topic, which is resource type and arguments. So let's first discuss what are resource type. Each resource is associated with a single resource type, as we discussed earlier as well, which determines the kind of infra object it manages and what arguments and other attributes the resource supports. Each resource type in turn belongs to a provider, which is a plugin for Terraform that offers a collection of resource type. A provider usually provides resources to manage a single cloud or on-premises infra platform. Most of the items within the body of a resource block are specific to the selected resource type. These arguments can make full use of expression and other dynamic Terraform language features. So resource type is nothing, just a way or like it uses in managing the resource. Now let's see what are meta arguments. Terraform CLI defines the following meta arguments which can be used with any resource to change the behavior of resource. So as you define the arguments within the body, similarly we can define meta arguments within the body of a resource. So we have these few meta arguments which we can define. So the first one is depends on. It is used for specifying hidden dependencies. Count, for creating multiple resources instances according to a count. Suppose you have to create similar kind of instances, say n number of times. So you can define the value of count as n, say 3, and you can create 3 instances for each to create multiple instances according to a map or set of strings. Provider, for selecting a non-default provider configuration. Lifecycle, for lifecycle customization. Provisioner and connection, for taking extra action after resource creation. So let's discuss these meta arguments one by one. First one is depends on. Using the depends on meta argument to handle hidden resource dependencies that Terraform can't automatically infer. Explicitly specifying a dependency is only necessary when a resource relies on some other resource behavior but doesn't access any of that resource data and its arguments. The depends on meta argument, if present, must be a list of references to other resources in the same module. Expressions are not allowed in the depends on argument value because its value must be known before Terraform known resource relationship, and thus it can be safely evaluate expressions. So let's see one example for depends on. As you can see on the left hand side, we have created one resource which is IAM role, and then we have assigned some policy to that particular role. Now, how to use depends on? As you can see on the right hand side, we have one AWS instance, and in that AWS instance, we are using depends on, and in which we are using IAM role policy.example. So we are not using the complete IAM role, we are just using the one policy of that particular role. So here we have to use depends on, in which we don't need to use the complete resource, but we can use a part of that particular resource. Next is count. By default, a resource block configures one real-time infra object. So by default, it will launch, say, one instance. However, sometimes you want to manage several similar objects, such as fixed pool of compute instances. Suppose you want to create one cluster of 5 instances of similar type. Then you can't create by only configuring the simple resource file. Terraform has 2 ways to do this. One is count and one is for each. So you can use any of the way. So let's discuss first about count. The count meta argument accepts a whole number and creates that many instances of the resource as shown below. Here I have created one, say, EC2 instance configuration file in which the count is 4. And in the tags, I have specified the name of the server and it will pick the count index, and the index start from 0. So when we run this particular configuration file, 4 instances of size T2 micro and the AMI as given in this configuration file will be created. In resource block where count is set, an additional count object is available in expression, so you can modify the configuration of each instance. This object has one attribute which is count index. The index, as I discussed, start with 0 corresponding to that particular instance. Significance outside of the scope of a module. When count is set, Terraform distinguishes between the resource block itself and the multiple resource instances associated with it. Instances are identified by an index number starting with 0. So there are two ways, like one is using type.name. Type is resource type and name is resource name. For example, aws_instance.cloudbug refers to resource block. And then you can also use index when you are using count. Here, for example, aws_instance.cloudbug and the index will start from 0 and then 1 and so on. Refers to individual instances. Next is for each. The for each meta arguments accepts a map or a set of strings and create an instance for each item in that map or set. Each instance has a distinct infra object associated with it, and each is separately created, updated or destroyed when the configuration is applied. So here I have created one variable which is subnet_numbers, in which I have defined 3 availability zone like EU West 1A with 1, EU West 1B with 2 and EU West 1C with 3. Now as you can see on the right hand side, I have created one AWS VPC of name Cloudbug, and I have created one AWS subnet. So here I can use the variable subnet numbers. So here I have defined for each as variable.subnet numbers, and then I am using availability zone as each.key. So here key is 1, 2, 3 and each means basically the default value, like the values which we have provided, like EU West 1A, EU West 1B and EU West 1C. So we don't need to define again and again for single availability zone. We can just use for each and it will pick all the variables in the subnet numbers one by one using the keys 1, 2 and 3. In resource block where for each is set, an additional each object is available in expression, so you can modify the configuration of each instance. This object has 2 attributes. One is each.key, the map key corresponding to the instance, each.value, the map value corresponding to the instance. If a set was provided, then this is same as each.key. The new object each with the attribute each.key and each.value will allow access to the key and value of each element of the for each expression in a similar way as count.index for the count argument. Now the question is, what is the difference between count and for each? Like we can also use count here, so why we are using for each? So when to use for each instead of count? If your resource instances are almost identical, count is appropriate. Like say for example EC2 instance. If I want to create a cluster, I can simply use count and provide the number of instances that I need to launch. If some of their arguments need distinct values that can't be directly derived from an integer, it's safer to use for each. Before for each was available, it was common to derive count from the length of a list and use count.index to look up the original list value. Next is provider. Selecting a non-default provider configuration. Terraform optionally allows the definition of multiple alternative alias configuration for a single provider to allow management of resources in different regions, in multi-region services, etc. The provider meta-arguments overrides Terraform default behavior of selecting a provider configuration based on the resource type name. You can run and launch resources in multiple environments simultaneously. So let's know more about this using an example. As you can see on the left hand side, I have created one provider AWS in which I have specified the region as US West 2. Now I have defined an alternative provider configuration which is AWS and which will be called by the name of alias Europe. So next I have created one EC2 instance, Cloudberg. In this I have provided provider as aws.europe. So by default it will pick the default configuration which is simply the provider AWS. But here I have used aws.europe, so it will pick the provider AWS having the alias Europe. So in this way you can define multiple provider and use them in resource configuration using provider name dot alias. If alias is not specified, then resource will pick the default configuration. So you can use multi-region providers in a single configuration file. That's amazing. The provider meta arguments accepts a provider.alias reference which does not need to be quoted. Next is lifecycle. The lifecycle block and its contents are meta arguments available for all the resources block regardless of type. The following lifecycle meta arguments are supported. So there are a couple of lifecycle meta arguments. Let's discuss this one by one. So first is create before destroy. So you can simply understand by the name only, create before destroy. So first create the resource, then destroy the older existing resource. The new replacement object is created first and the prior object is destroyed only once the replacement is created. So here I have created one AWS API gateway deployment, say example, and having the API ID description, and the lifecycle is create before destroy. So here we have enabled create before destroy as true to properly order deployments in Terraform. So the new replacement is created first and then the old one will be deleted. Next is prevent destroy. So all these are in Boolean like true or false. This meta arguments when set to true will cause Terraform to reject with an error any plan would destroy the infra object with the resource as long as the argument remains present in the configuration. So here I have created one EC2 instance and in the lifecycle I have mentioned prevent destroy as true. Here we have enabled prevent destroy as true, due to which when we run Terraform plan now generates an error alerting us that applying this plan would destroy resources. So this is a good way to prevent the destroy of the resources. So it will show something like this: the plan would destroy the resources, but it has currently lifecycle prevent destroy set to true. If you want to see the error in more detail, then you have to make it false. Prevent destroy as false. Next is ignore changes. It specifies resource attributes that Terraform should ignore when planning updates to the associated remote object, as shown below. So here is one EC2 instance having lifecycle as ignore changes, in which we are ignoring tag which is name. So when we run Terraform plan, it will ignore the changes done in the name. Say for example, when you make any change in the Terraform configuration and run Terraform plan, it will count all the changes. And suppose I want to ignore the change name with tags. So what I can do, I can make change in the configuration and include it in lifecycle as tag name. So when we run Terraform plan, it will not pick the changes done in the tags. The argument corresponding to the given attribute names are considered when planning a create operation, but are ignored when planning an update. You can also ignore specific map elements by writing references like tags name in the ignore changes. Next is provisioner and connection. The provisioner and connection block types within resource block are meta-arguments available across all resource types. Provisioner are used to execute script on a local or remote machine as a part of resource creation or destruction. Terraform uses a number of default when connecting to a resource, but these can be overridden using a connection block in either a resource or provisioner. So here we have one provisioner which is having a file having source in myapp.configuration and destination is in the myapp.configuration file. So provisioner are basically used like suppose you have created one EC2 instance and you want to execute some script on that particular machine, so you can use provisioner and it will execute that commands on the remote machine. And connection is used to establish a connection. So we have defined one type SSH having user root and password is stored in variable which is root_password. One use case is to have an initial provisioner connect as a root user to set up user account and have subsequent provisioners connect as a user with more limited permission. So it is a very basic example here. Suppose I want to create 10 users who can access to any particular Linux machine. So I can simply provide the authentication detail in connection and all the user detail in source file of provisioner. So it will create all the 10 users after creating the EC2 instance. So let's see the summary what all we have discussed today. So first of all, we have discussed what are Terraform resources and what is the resource syntax, in which we have discussed about resource type, resource name and arguments. Then we discussed a couple of examples, which was how to launch EC2 instance using Terraform resource and how to call or use existing resource in another or same configuration file, in which we attached elastic IP to the existing EC2 instance. Then we discussed the resource type and then the meta arguments in detail, like depends on, count, for each, provisioner lifecycle with some lifecycle meta arguments, and then in the last we discussed about provisioner and connection for executing the script on the remote machine. So that's all I have for resources. I hope it is clear now. If you still have doubt, you can directly reach out to me on any of the social media platform. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions so far, then you can directly reach out to me on any social platform like LinkedIn, Instagram or Facebook. Username is same on all the platform, which is Cloudwork. Or you can also mail me at cloudworktech@gmail.com. Do not forget to like, comment, share and subscribe Cloudwork. If you like this video, do let me know. And if you don't, do let me know how can I make it better. I come up with new video every Thursday, so stay tuned. Bye guys.